New comic book day is coming up. It's time to take a look at the books on my pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the pull list. It's my weekly video where I tell you of the books coming out this week, which ones are on my pull list, what's on the chopping block, and what's on the maybe list that I'll be making a game day decision on. Now, the summer of savings is continuing around here. This might be the shortest pull list I have ever had. That's wild. And we'll go ahead and kick things off with the book that I'm most excited about this week, and that is from Titan Comics, Conan the Barbarian, issue number 1. Conan, written by Jim Zub, with art by Roberto De La Torre. Listen, I've never read a Conan book. I know Marvel put out like 1 million Savage Swords and somethings of Conan. There's 1 million of those books and archives and stuff coming out. As a matter of fact, Titan is actually restarting that whole archive series and whatever. There's a bunch of Conan content out there in comics, and I've never read any of it. In fact, my only memory of Conan is that animated series that used to come on back in the day. And even that, I don't even remember like the actual series as much as I remember the end credits where he's just like running horizontally across the screen and bashing stuff with my point is, I don't really know much about Conan, except that I read the free comic book day issue this spring, and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, okay, this looks cool. Just a dude running around, slashing armies, protecting his homeland, you know, being a barbarian and such. I've heard that Conan in the past can get kind of racy and kind of toe that line between like, I guess what we'd call a PG-13 and a rated R or a mature book. So we'll see how things go. But again, the free comic book day sort of preview or prelude did get me excited enough about the series that I really want to check out issue number 1. And so I'm doing that this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm going to grab the cover A. And since we're talking about the indies, non-big 2 books, will continue with the only other one on the list, and that is The Walking Dead Deluxe. Issue 68 is out this week. The Walking Dead, written by Robert Kirkman, art by Charlie Adlard. They're doing this whole remastered The Walking Dead Deluxe. They're adding colors by Dave McCaig for the first time. The series did not originally come out in colors, and if you want this series in color, The Walking Dead Deluxe is the only way to get it. So I've been collecting it for, 3 years now? And I'm going to continue collecting it. Cover price on this is $3.99, and I'm grabbing cover A by David Finch. And that's the end of the indie books on the list. Listen, I told you this is the summer of savings. Super quick. So the indies on my list will cost me $8 this week. And let's go ahead over to Marvel Comics, where the first book on the list is Fantastic Four, issue number 10. Fantastic Four, written by Ryan North. And basically, they've been doing like these really short 1 to 2 issue story arcs. So issue 10 is a brand new story. You don't have to read everything that came before to read it. There's some huge alien that got lost in space and now has been discovered. And I don't know, Fantastic Four are going to come in at some point somehow. And so I'm going to go ahead and jump back in because I've definitely been behind on Fantastic Four. So I'm going to jump back in with issue 10, but also something that I should note. Several Marvel comics this week are actually going to contain a 1-page preview by Jonathan Hickman, and that is going to lead into his Gods event or miniseries. So if you're like if that's on your radar, the whole Gods event, then look out for that badge. It's a red badge in the corner of the book that says like, "Who are the gods?" or something like that. I don't know if it's the same 1-page preview in all of these books or if it's one different page in each book. But again, there's like 5 or 6 Marvel books with that whole red badge this week. So I don't know. You guys will have to let me know in the comments when you grab these. Was it the same page? Because this is the only book on my list that's got that. And I'm not just going to buy a bunch of books just because. Anyway, Fantastic Four issue 10's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm always grabbing the Alex Ross cover A. And the next book on the Marvel pull list is X-Men, issue number 25. X-Men, written by Jerry Duggan. Listen, the fall of X has begun. In last week's Hellfire Gala, stuff got popping. It's been on and popping. Orcus is here. Like, all this is happening. So the Fall of X, if you're trying to get down with the Fall of X, this is the week to get in. You should definitely pick up last week's Hellfire Gala book. But then from now until like December, at least, we got a whole lot of falling going on. Speaking of the Fall of X, I went ahead and just was doing some research on how many Fall of X books there are going to be, because there is an Astonishing Iceman book launching this week. There's a Storm series that's going to launch later on, by Louise Simonson. Is it Storm? It's a Jean Grey series, not Storm. Storm already had a mini-series. There's a Jean Grey series coming out. There's a Children of the Vault series coming out. The Uncanny Avengers. There are a ton of tie-in books that are launching to coincide with the Fall of X. And then not even to mention the Wolverine and Ghost Rider crossover. So if you're trying to get onto the Fall of X train, I don't know which books are going to be absolutely necessary and which ones are not. But there have already been as many as 50 issues charted out to be a part of the whole Fall of X initiative. And I already know I'm not grabbing all of them, but just so you know, prepare yourself. If you have been a huge Krakoa era fan, your wallet is definitely in for it over the next 3 to 4 months. So judge yourself accordingly. But the Fall of X starts this week, or really it started last week, but it continues with X-Men issue 25. Cover price on this is $5.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the Marvel books on the pull list this week. So if I stick to the list, the Marvel books are going to cost me $10. $10 this week. Now, I should mention, I guess I don't have to, because you can kind of tell, there are no DC books on the pull list this week. That's right. There's not a DC book on the pull list, and there's not a DC book on the maybe list. And there is one book that is kind of on the chopping block, but technically it's not. Gargoyles from Dynamite Comics was never actually on my pull list. I was just picking it up at the store every week off the stands, or every month that it came out. And issue 6 was the last issue I picked up. When I went to pick up books last month, I forgot to buy issue 7 of Gargoyles. And instead of going back and buying issue 7 and 8, I'm like, you know what? My to-read pile is big enough. Haven't really read an issue of Gargoyles since issue 4. Let's just drop it. So I'm not picking up Gargoyles number 8 this week. I will say, if you are invested, it seems like it's picking up. Goliath is on trial for something. So, hey, I've just decided I'm going to probably wait and see what the collected editions are looking like. I'm really hoping, as much as Greg Weisman is pumping up this series, that it gets some nice hardcovers. So we'll see. Maybe I'll regret dropping out on Gargoyles, but as of right now, I don't. So that saved me $4 by not pulling Gargoyles. But yeah, there are no DC books on the list this week. And I don't think there's a DC book on the list next week, because Night Terrors. Now, the first of the Night Terrors wave is going to be dropping in DC Universe Infinite on the Ultra tier, starting tomorrow, Tuesday. So I'll go back and read some of those digitally just to make sure I'm not interested. And I'm probably not. But yeah, I'm not super missing out. I can still read stuff a month later, and I think it's worth it. Saving all these coins. $18? That's my lowest total in quite some time. So anyway, let me know. My bad. Let me know what you guys are excited about in the comments down below. Got to give a huge shout out to the channel family for making this video and every video possible. Go ahead and hit the join button down below if you want first access to some of our long form content, or if you just want to tip the channel and support. I really appreciate it. I will see you guys in another video soon. Until then, I don't know what you're reading this week or what you're picking up, but hopefully it's something dope. Peace.